So this is so exciting. A mother and son conversation. So we had a good time last night.
Yes, we did.
That was so much fun. So much fun.
It was your first drag show, I think, actually.
Like that. Yes,
yeah.
I've been to the one in Vegas.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Next time you go to Vegas, there's RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas. They're out of the Flamingo.
Oh.
And it's like the top queens that are
The
out of
Flamingo's still there?
I think it's the Flamingo or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. So, I'm so happy about this. So, I'm going to read out your first joyful path, your charismatic performer. Just a bit of it.
Mm.
And I'd like you to share your perspective of it from since you've learnt about it. And this is the new book that Dr. Deborah Ford just finished writing. It is called The SolePath Book of Knowledge. And you can find this at the SolePath website at www.solepath.org or on Amazon. And again, it's called The SolePath Book of Knowledge. And that's what I'm going to read out of today. It is so great.
Go mama.
I'm going. Charismatic performer, my son, Shen. So Shen's joyful as a charismatic performer. His progression is a lateral thinker, so an intellectual lateral thinker, and his dark is an inspirational manager.
We don't have to talk about that.
We do, because it's our greatest gift, right? So as a charismatic performer, the world is your stage. You love the limelight and being recognized and admired for your talent. You really must have an audience and are spontaneous and fun-loving. You love sensation and drama, and you have the great gift of living in the moment. Your core energy as a charismatic performer is performing and entertaining and being an extrovert. So the core meaning, every soul path has a core meaning, and it's something that we can always go back and compare ourselves to and own it.
Yeah.
So this core energy represents the positive core values deep within you that create an expansion of your energy that creates positive outcomes. So being a charismatic performer means that you understand that your life is a movie. We visited on that a lot. And you have the ability to rewrite the script at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
You love to be the lead actor, direct your supporting cast, not manage, and entertain your audience.
Mm-hmm.
You are really fun to be around. So with everything that I shared here of your life performer, just a small part of it, how does that resonate with you?
On many levels. Like, I think with me playing hockey and being a goalie, you are literally the limelight. Like, you're make it or break it. You're a backbone of the team, and if the backbone breaks, the rest of it falls. Definitely an extrovert, but it does get exhausting. If you don't take care of yourself, you get very exhausted. Like, if you're in a social circle for a very long time, like let's say you do a job that's very like customer service orientated and you're in the public eye and you're constantly engaging with people, you do get exhausted.
Well, you're skin sensory.
Yeah.
Charismatics are skin sensory. That's
And
a
like,
lot.
And the thing is
Goodness.
with that, if you do, like you have to take care of yourself.
Tissue. Yeah. Yeah.
And like, so it just is what it is. But definitely that performer has come a long way because it's definitely carried me through sports. We've been all around the world now with my sports. And definitely I can change the movie at any time. You and I did that together that day when we walked out of that bottle fundraiser together because how I was treated.
Yes.
And I looked at you and I said, absolutely not. And then off I went on another journey.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was the start of my hockey career.
Yes. And also something else started during the transition from ringette to hockey for yourself personally.
Yeah, that's when I figured out that I was, that I opened up to you before about it, but like it was really when I said, nah, like I am supposed to be a man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big moment for you and me
Mm-hmm.
and our family. And then my hockey career, because then after that I was like, yeah, this is who I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely, my last 2 years of junior though, I was openly and presently and presentingly as a man.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was smooth sailing. Like I never once had an issue, and I think it's because women
Mm-hmm.
tend to be more accepting than men, and which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a lot of systemic pressure that comes with it, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like with me playing in the sports that I play in, like hockey now, and the teams that I play on, like I have such a wide hockey community that it touches every border of this province, that if I looked for hockey, I'd be able to find it.
Yes.
It's no problem.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
So do you feel or think that maybe even your charismatic performer helped you through this?
Yeah, because there was a lot of drama.
Mm.
We had a lot of drama with it, and we faced a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the biggest highlights for us as a family was when we changed the perspective of a family about gay people. That was a big monumental thing for us when we dealt with people who weren't quite understanding of people like me. And then us as a family, me being who I am and you being who you are, it made it very easy for them to see, like, oh, they're not bad people.
Aww.
And it's like, no, we're not. We just want to live life just like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. So as a charismatic, you know that being bright, you're bright. Mm-hmm. And when your bright isn't bright, you're very dark.
Oh. We'll talk about that.
Do you have an example that you'd like to share?
Of when I'm dark, I'm dark?
Yeah, from a charismatic. You're a charismatic performer.
I think it comes a lot from, like, I can speak of my job. Like, I do care very much about every job that I do. And when I'm dark, it affects everyone. So, like, when it's been slow at work recently and I voice it, it doesn't come out very kind, which it's no one's fault.
No.
Right? But it just happens, and then it affects everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think with sports, it's like if I get in my very dark space mentally when I'm playing hockey, it destroys the morale of the team.
So it's interesting. You could see how I read out. The performer needs an audience to be bright.
Yeah.
So it's like a light switch. It's on, it's on, but it's off. It's like boom. It's like I walk in, and if I want to create drama, I will just, kind of wipe it off my shoulders. I'll spread the drama, and then watch everyone, and go, okay, and turn
and leave.
And be totally happy with that, because you're not impacted.
Yeah.
But when you're dark, then everyone just goes down, right? Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's a gift that you chose. Mm-hmm. It's cool, and I, me as your mother, have experienced it.
What are you talking about?
So let's move on to your progression, lateral thinker, which is the intellectual category. So as an intellectual lateral thinker, you think outside the box, which is what you and I were talking about this week for each other. Yeah. It's like step out of the box, bird's eye view, right? You follow the 180 rule, which is to turn around and look at things from a completely different direction. In this way, you're able to encourage new and different ideas. You're an interesting conversationalist who is mentally quick and loves change. You are excited about life and easily acquire new skills. Oh, we so know that, right?
I pick them up fast.
Yeah, you do. You do. It's a gift. And your core energy for a lateral thinker is innovative thinking and original ideas. Mm-hmm. And you and I were talking about that. Now, we were talking about measuring the universities and stuff like that. So to me, that's you showing me your lateral thinker. You're getting all the info, you're gonna think it all out, and then your extrasensory gift of the charismatic, that when you go and you visit with these universities and college, because there's these universities that everyone's like, oh my gosh, you got in there?
Doesn't mean
if
anything.
it doesn't match for you,
It ain't
I
gonna
suggest
work.
you don't go. You know that, but
Yeah.
you live your own journey. I just offer the suggestion when you ask. So this core energy represents those positive core values, which is what you and I have been working with each other, supporting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get into our dark and we get afraid. Yeah, I admit I'm human. Being an intellectual lateral thinker means that you thrive on different ideas. You are competitive by interesting concepts and engaging interaction and conversation with others. The image is an upside down triangle or funnel above your head,
Mm-hmm.
capturing all the ideas and thoughts that flow into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That feels true for you?
Oh yeah, I think we've seen it in many aspects. Like when I had to run the cleaning company for a little while, I had to really think outside the box of how to make things work for us and how to better our success in some of our contracts, because some of our contracts were challenging. Nice word. And I had to really think outside of the box to make it work.
Yes.
And also with having that kind of mindset, you actually are a very good person to debate with. Because you know your facts, and you listen to their facts, but you'll also be able to be like, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's not true, right? And we've had that.
Yes.
And I have no problem calling people out and saying...
Very aware.
and saying, yeah, no. And that can just get me into trouble sometimes. But most of the time I'd say it's because I don't have the tolerance and I'm a very factual person.
Yes.
If the facts state this is the facts. And one of my biggest things is I'm a sponge. I do collect a lot, which means I have to release a lot.
Yeah, and what do you do to release it?
Yeah, you have to sweat.
Yes!
Yeah, and which is where my sports and everything comes into play to help me release. So I have a very good tandem that way.
Yes, because your governing number is 3, which is the intuitive category,
Yeah.
which is as important as your soul paths.
Yes.
Yes.
And so my paths play very good hand in hand with that.
Yes.
But
I
on
agree.
the flip side of it, I can get into the dark very quickly.
Well, we do. If there's light, there's dark. It's inevitable. It just offers us to recognize in what direction are we choosing. But with you, it's so fun because, well, sometimes it's fun. Most of my time, we have such a blast. But it's an awareness for me. Shen's enjoying creating a movie around the drama of this, and you know what? I'm gonna stay in the audience. I'm not gonna participate in the movie and script that Shen is writing.
Do you know what? It's very rare that I create a story with you.
That's true.
Because
true.
I think it's because if I care a lot about the person, I also don't want to become very stonewalled. Yeah. Because when I get launched into that trajectory of I know what I'm talking about, do not fight me. I do not want to get...
that doesn't sound like kindness in there, Shen.
No, but it's the fact of it's like we just talked about. If I know what I'm talking about, do not fight me.
No, and you also want to be heard. Us intellects want to be heard.
And if I'm not heard, I get more aggressive because it's like you're not listening to me. Yeah. And now you have now activated the dark because now you're not listening.
But also because you allowed them to activate the dark.
Yes, don't do that. Mom, looking at you.
Yeah. I get it. Speaking of dark,
well, I have lots to talk about this.
It's okay though. It's our gift and it's our place of growth. If we did not have the dark, everyone would be flaky how I get. That's just not what Earth offers. We're here for our soul's evolution.
Yeah, you're a flake.
Yep. Yeah. And we chose the paths we chose for our soul's evolution. Mm-hmm. And to learn to be ourselves, so you be your performer, your lateral thinker, and use the gifts of the dark path to be your best self, to be a role model, but also honor your soul. And that's what I love to do. And that's how I want to be of service. So the inspirational dark manager, remembering the dark path is a mastered skill. Something you're very familiar with that has been there, done that energy. Energy about it often feels unfulfilling and frustrating. So that's the energy of emotion to recognize. Yeah, I know. Dark paths are a continuum, and you are just as likely to connect with the light path as the dark path. The dark path description gives you the full picture, but you won't necessarily be the person. Do be aware of those things that occur regularly that you need to work on, though. It's kind of like it'll keep knocking at your door, or the mallet is the word that we use, until you learn your lesson. But that's it. Once you learn your lesson, it moves on. So we can't really be mad at it. I mean, it's us resisting it, right? So as a dark inspirational manager, you're just as likely to achieve, organize, and plan. All the same gifts as a light path characteristics. As you take on the collapsing behavior, though. So that would be the dark that doesn't feel good, the frustration, the unfulfilling feeling. Those are all false emotions. They're not who you really are, soulfully. Oh, Shen. Who is the dark path inspirational manager?
Because I literally went through that.
That's right. But we did it together, though, right? And the greatest thing is you always reach out.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So the core energy for the dark inspirational manager is being a perfectionist. Lacking a belief in others. Being strong-willed, dictatorial, intolerant, and demanding. Noticing the negative.
Always.
I am a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And whatever you do or say will never be good enough.
Yep.
I am intolerant and demanding and only notice the negative things that you do and say. I won't share what I have, and in my absolute arrogance, and quite sure that what I do and say is perfect and right. Now, doesn't that kind of go with what you were saying? When I know what I'm talking.
But there's also a point where you and I talked about where the dark is needed to come out.
Yeah.
To protect someone. Right? And we have had those moments. With me and you against people, where I have had to be that, you are going to listen to what I'm saying, because enough is enough. And so, like, I think as much as it's not very good to be in your dark, it is still a good thing to have. And that is one of the things that you and I have talked about extensively. And I do get like that a lot. I am trying to be better. I literally went through a downfall. Like hitting rock bottom like a week ago, and that was very upsetting, very hard. And I do reach out when I'm not doing well. It's because I know I have to do that, because if I do not get it out, it'll just fester. And then it gets to a point where, okay, I've shared everything, now leave me alone.
Yeah.
Right? Now I need to
go to bed.
Now I need to chill.
Yeah, like you always have.
Yeah.
Ever since you were a child, you'd put yourself to bed. You'd ask permission to go to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, go to bed. Sweet dreams. No, and that's good. You still honor that. So that's something that you brought in with you. You know the value of it. Like, my
sleeping is a very big thing for me. It does not get interrupted.
Yeah.
And I need to have a nap, I'm having a nap.
Yeah.
It's a recharge.
Yes.
Definitely it's a recharge, and it's a reset.
Yeah.
I think I use the reset, I think, in every path I have, because when I get mentally exhausted, what do I want to do? I want to sleep.
Yeah.
When I get exhausted with being an extrovert, I want to sleep.
Yeah.
I need to sleep. Some people need to just be alone. I'm no. Shut the door. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Midday naps are a big thing for me, because one of the things that I think go hand in hand with this is my lateral thinker and my manager. I'm always thinking.
Yes.
I think
you
all
always
the
will.
time.
It is inevitable, right?
Yeah. And
yes.
because a lot of people used to always say, like, why are you always so tired? It's like, because my mind doesn't stop.
And what did we talk about the other day?
Write it down.
Yes. And why write it down?
Because it gets it out.
Exactly. It leaves space for more. Like, remember, as a shared, it's like an upside down pyramid. It's like but
and I like
clear it.
Blow through notebooks. As you know, I blow through them because I get them out, and like when I do my budget, I probably do it at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Until I get it perfect. Or I'm like, okay, well, this is as good as it gets. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
I do that a lot. I did that a lot with the company, the cleaning company.
Yeah.
When I sat down and did the budget, I worked it, I don't know how many times until I said, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
And I'd come to you and share that with you because, well,
yeah.
you were my boss. And I had to.
Yes.
But I did, with that, my manager did come into handy a lot with the company certainly. Because it was like, this is how it has to be for us to succeed.
Yes.
And the perfectionist really came into play there because it kept us going.
Yeah.
So as much as it's a dark, it's very much a very good tool to have.
It is a good tool to have and use. So when you know you're going in your dark, so remember, it's those emotion feelings and your skin sensory, so you'd be very aware of that.
My skin gets gross. Hey?
Yeah, I don't.
No, like it feels like I feel gross. Like I feel like grimy. Oh. Like I feel like I get a whole body sensation. Like I'm sure everyone has felt that kind of thing where you just feel grimy. You feel gross. Like you need to shower. And I feel like that. I could be fresh out of I could be in the shower and I'll still feel it because my mindset is still. Because usually I use my showers as a reset too to like I get everything off. Totally, just washes like the whole impact. And like I know some people don't wash their hair every time. I know some people just do their bodies. I'm like, no, head to toe, beard, whatever face, works. Yep. Hair, lack of hair I have. Everything gets done. I wash my body head to toe. Everything gets done because then when I walk out, it's a new chance. That's how I see it. And like I love it because when we lived together like 3-4 years ago, and I would do my training, and then we would go to work, and then I'd go to hockey. After my training, I showered, and then sometimes after my training, we'd go to work, and then I come home and shower again, and then I would go to hockey, and then I shower again. Yeah. Because to me, that feeling of griminess can also bring me down because then I feel gross and I don't like that. Do you think also like because your governing number is an intuitive and it's all 5 sensories, so intuitive category has 5 sensories, so it goes with your charismatic. And the interesting thing that in the SolePath teachings is that there are the charismatics, the intellectuals, and the inspirationals are all linear thinkers. I do that. Right? Yeah. And compassionates, intuitive, and spirituals, are like more interested in the non-linear things. Which is me. Our relationship works. And you have the governing number 3. Yeah. Which is intuitive. So you incorporated it intelligently into your paths to have fun in this lifetime. Because also intuitives are here to have fun. Yeah. Like in whatever way fun is for you. So fun for you is hockey. Making money, baby. Making money. It's because when I make money, I can have fun with it. Right? Like as you know, I wear very expensive clothing. I have very expensive stuff. It's because to me, it's not a stature thing. It's because it makes me have fun. Feels good too. I love shopping. You and I love shopping. Yes. We do. And when we have fun like that, I love doing that. Yes. And it's because when I'm having fun, everyone else is having fun. That's exactly what I say. My selfishness benefits everyone. Damn. What? Is it not true? If I'm happy, then everyone's happy. No, it's good. It's good. I was curious though, with your transitioning, and you're now done with that. I have gone to the final steps of mine, yes. Of what you would like for yourself. What I want done for me, yep. So, with that awareness
comes a whole new script again.
Yeah.
So how often do you think, looking back, how many roles have you written? How many movies have you written to your age now of 26?
Fucking Marvel, eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. Like, I think my longest movie, though, was my transition over those 6 years. Because it had so many peaks, it had so many plots. Like, I was in a relationship, I was starting my transition, starting hormones, my relationship with your ex-husband was not very good, and I was starting to really see, like, what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I was over the age of 18, so now I could make the choices. As you always said to me, like, you're not going to do anything till you're 18, because I want you to make the choices for yourself. And which... Back then, I was like, that's so mean, I don't understand. But now when I get older, I'm like, it makes sense. Because also I thought about it more, and I'm like, yeah, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. Like, that is who I am, so I'm going to take the steps for it. Mm-hmm. And like, at the age of 18, like, we had so many people saying to us, like, oh, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to college, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I'm like, no. Why? Like,
but we're only talking about how it impacts you, right? Not that it's right for everyone else. Okay.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, because a lot of people in sports talking with you mm-hmm. and me saying, like, you have to go to school for you to succeed. It's mm-hmm. like, no, you don't. It's because I had 2 parents who didn't graduate and succeeded. Most of my family didn't, and they're succeeding. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's because you guys broke the mold of it.
Well, also, we depending on what you want to achieve in your life, what we wanted to do, I can only speak for myself. Yeah. What I wanted to do was simple. Yeah. I wanted my life to be simple, and I did and created businesses that I was doing already and was very good at. So I created it to make community. Yeah. But there are things like, to be a doctor, you have to go to school. You know, that stuff.
Lawyers, you have to.
The college that you're looking into now, like for what you want to go in for, we need that, right? So like I just don't want it to be...
No, I think it's because it gets really forced. Oh, you know, it's like you have to. You have to. If you don't, you're not going to succeed. It's like, do you know what? There is tradespeople who are your age who didn't go to school, mm-hmm. but are making $60 an hour. And they're like some of the best in the field. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where it gets lost. Is because it's like, some people are just naturally good at it. Like, I was a naturally good goaltender. Like, when I put those pads on for the first time, I said, this is it. Yeah. This is who I am.
For how you go, I mean, you were on rinks, like the NHL, like as guests.
Yeah, like I was on WHL sized rinks. I was playing on Olympic ice.
We were in Germany.
We went to all over Europe and we represented Canada. Yes. And that's a story that I have that when I tell people, they look at me and they're like, what? You were like 14, 15 playing with 20-year-old people? It's like, yeah. Yes. I do not like to toot my own horn, but I am good at goaltending. Yeah. I do not think I am better than someone else. No. I think I am about the same as everyone else. And how it almost like how it just works well. And Tess asked me, she's like, how does your brain work with this, you know? And I said, I'm like, envision it this way. I was like, imagine you are sitting at a table. She's like, okay. And I'm like, and you have thousands of monitors. She's like, all right. And I'm like, as the play is coming at me, I am already assessing those at lightning speed, at which one's going to happen. Yes. And then when I find it, my body just does it. Yeah. I was like, that is how my mind works. Mm-hmm. I was like,
That's being in the moment, too.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what makes me good, and that's what makes people like me, is because I'm also so different. My goaltending style is a very, like, Dominic Hasek, quick, Kippersoft, mixed in with, like, a Pecorine. Mm-hmm. You mash it together, that's me. I do everything in my power to keep the puck out of the net. Yep. I have thrown body parts in front of it. I've jumped over across the net. Like, I will do everything to
I won't forget the fish move that you've done.
I have kept it out.
Yeah. Just because the team was just right there. Like, defense on both teams were like, boom, 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 boom.
And I'm like, nope. And people would just look at me and be like, how?
Yeah, it's so stressful for me to watch, but yeah.
So
no,
you all
did really
know when we would go into overtime, Mom was gone. Out of, like, the buzzer went, she was gone. She was nowhere to be found. Like, and then at the end of the game, you'd be like, Mom, did you even see? No. Okay.
I couldn't.
And then,
stressful.
But luckily, your ex-husband at that time would still be there, but he'd move away from all the parents because of because of the stress, and he knows what people say about bullies.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's one of the things in the position I play. It is a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. It very much is, and it is not a position for the soft.
Right.
Like, it is not. Like, I would not suggest it. No. No. Love you dearly, but no. And, like,
it's okay.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely not a position for the faint of heart.
Mm.
And it's a big role.
It is a big role, but it's nothing for you to do, though, and that's the gift of the performer.
Yeah.
Like, and I think a performer is a double-edged sword.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Oh.
I do.
Oh, like, I have to put on a movie for you. Oh.
And as if that's a problem.
Oh, sometimes it's like God, take a ticket and see it. God. Shen's out of order today.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
It's so fun. It's so fun. So now, I don't know if you noticed it, but there's different phases in my life. So you shared the performer being an asset. Now, if you look back, you're going to see the lateral thinker.
I see it more that I got older.
Yeah.
I think is because when you're a child, you are meant to have fun. Like, that is very, like, told to you. Like, you're supposed to enjoy your youth because when you get older, it's down to business, is what people say. But
I don't think I said that.
Oh, we know who said that.
Then we balance it out.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
And I think with my lateral thinker, I'd say almost kept it suppressed. Because I felt like it wasn't a tool. It felt exhausting because I didn't understand why my mind would be so full.
Yes. Right?
And then as I got older, I realized, like, oh, it's because I've analyzed the situation 7 times and refigured it out.
Yes, right?
And, like, I think it definitely, like, all my paths came into play a week ago. Like, when I was in that deep depths of my existence. And I was trying to, like, pull anything, right? Like, I think my lateral thinker was firing, but in the dark sense, because it's like, okay, well, if I do this and this and this is what's going to happen.
So does that not sound like a dark manager, though?
And
like,
it's not,
that's not obeying me. Like,
I know,
and like, what do you think? Like,
yeah, no, it does, and I've tried to, like, figure it out and just kind of let it be, but now it's like, yeah, I think it's because I let the people, the people who told me you have to go to schools, opinions really push my mindset that way. Like, oh, but if I go to school, like, I gotta waste 4 years of my life. And it's like, no, like, you don't gotta do that anymore. Like, you can maybe spend half a year in school and then you got a career. And I think that's where I was not letting it, because I was saying that's not good enough for me, which is the dark saying, no, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But now it's like I've opened it, took off my blinders, and seen, like, yeah, actually that is a possibility. Like, you don't have to be this 6-year bachelor degree person to have the knowledge of them.
Unless you do want to be.
Then cool.
I know. I'm just saying, like, yeah, exactly. Everyone.
But I think everyone needs to understand you don't always have to do that.
No, we want me. I would love everyone just to know who they are and work on doing whatever they can do for themselves to live of life, a peace, tranquility, fun, goal orientation.
I love orientated people.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Because the conversations you can have with them is like, they have already thought out how to do it.
Yeah.
And they know the steps they have to take. And that, I do have that a lot. It's
Yeah.
like, if I want to reach this, if let's say I want to make, well, no, one of my goals is I want to make $150,000 a year.
That's a low amount. Why not go more?
In the next 5 years.
Bravo. No,
and then after that, I'm like, I want to make $300,000.
Yeah.
And then after that, I want to make $500,000 because by that time, you're going to be in the retirement stage. And I'm like, listen, I'm like, my mom and I talked about extensively how if I make that kind of money, I have to give her money. So I've already thought about all that. And when you're in your 80s and your 90s, I'm like, you're going to need my help. Now, of course, in that time, I would hope that we've worked together to get you into a spot that you're... Oh, I just need to come in and make sure that you're breathing and then leave.
Where's the love?
Oh, come on, Mom. You know,
like I said, I don't require much. Just...
She doesn't require much, but she needs her eyelashes, her nails, her hair. She has to go to the gym a certain amount of time. She has to do Zumba. Oh, yep. And no grace can be showing. She has to have very nice clothing. Her, like, standard stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, oh yeah, the hair thing is such an issue.
Oh, you look great. We don't need to worry about that at all.
That was a big one too.
So, it kind of was introduced when you did go for that hairdo that one day.
Yeah, and the thing is I was quite grateful that my barber was very kind.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, of course, I only have female barbers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because I just jive with women more. It just is what it is, because I also understand what you guys go through.
Yeah.
And... Like when I explained to them, like, yeah, this is what's up, like, this is what happened, and this is why it's gone. Like, I used to have beautiful, brown, thick hair, and then hormones just thinned it out. And I know who to blame for it. It's not you. It's okay. And because I had to reshape the idea of a perfect person, and it was hard. Like, when I had to really admit that I had no hair left on the top of my head was a big thing for me. It was very hard. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to admit it for a long time. I tried really hard to hide it, but it wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I went to my barber and I said, I think you have to admit it now. And she's like, that's okay.
Yeah. It is.
And so she she did a really good job.
Yes.
She trimmed me right up. Like, she does my head, she does my beard, she does my eyebrows, she makes sure this is all trimmed in my ears, and she does
very
all in
nicely
here.
groomed. Huh?
She ensures that I look good.
Yeah, and your Charismatic loves that.
I love going to my barber. She does a good job, and she's very kind.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tara, you're great.
That's kind.
And, like, she does a good job, and she's a very charismatic person. I think people in those kind of jobs have to be. Like, you're doing a big service for people. Mm-hmm. Like, hair is a big thing for people. Like, let's talk about that, actually. Hair is so important to a human being.
It is.
And actually, beings in general, cats, dogs, animals, like, even when, like, a lion, like, gets some of its mane, like, removed somehow, some way, like, say in a scrap, like, it shows it.
Oh,
it shows it. Like, its ego is hurt.
Yeah.
And that was for me.
Remember Angel?
And
it was too short?
She gave you that.
Oh,
she was so mad.
So mad. And then to nurture her, like, I mean, the last thing I wanted her to do was get depressed, because they will get that. Yeah, she was very upset.
And I think it's big, but it was also she was getting older, and she wanted the longer hair probably to keep her warm, right? And by the time she passed, like, she was just this ball of
love.
It was her bark. I think I was just like, God, like, But like she lived to a very good age.
Yes.
At the ripe age of
she was
almost
ready.
18.
Yes, no,
Like,
she's told me. She's
for a little yappy, little white-haired hairball, she lived a good life.
She did. She was
Very
well
taken
loved
care of.
by many, many people.
Yeah.
Yes. I actually shared with them the SolePath of Angel and how her role was at the SolePath Institute, going into the counseling room with Deborah, censoring, giving the person what they need, or if, in her words, Angel's words, if they deserve her.
Yes.
And so that way.
She was very much, she wasn't a princess, she was a queen.
She was a queen.
She was a queen.
Yeah.
And having you two battling it out was always entertaining.
Yeah, well, that
eventually she stopped going to you, but she always went to you when she needed to be loved.
Yes.
Very much so. That. And Terry was loving too. Like she was basically the provider. He was the provider basically.
Yeah.
He made the food, fed her. I was the protection. Mm-hmm. That's what I was. Like if she was upset or uncomfortable, I removed her from the situation. She
placed us very intelligently.
Yes, she did. Yeah. And I would be very, like, if she didn't like someone touching her, I made it very clear for them not to touch her. Like,
yeah.
Do not touch her. Like, she obviously, don't touch her.
Yeah.
Or else you got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, like, you're going to have 3 people coming after you and it's not going to be good for you. So, yeah. Like,
no, it's true. Hair, the way I view hair is that it grows from the inside out. It doesn't grow from the outside of a person in, right?
Well, obviously.
And I know it's obviously intellectually, but metaphysically, in Deneen's perspective, when your hair is growing, it is coming out and showing. So the longer that your hair gets, your hair and all that, but it will also collect. Yes. It will collect everything. Like, I mean, way back when, we all had long hair at a time of Jesus, and us women put flowers and oils in our hair and carried it around and got to where we needed to because we had other things to carry and do. But that was the era. It was a different energy as well. The energy now is different. Yeah. So when you cut your hair, you're cutting away some energy that
is stuck
and needed to be released.
Tess needs to cut her hair.
She has beautiful hair.
Long, beautiful hair.
Yes, but what's interesting...
Comes down to like her butt now again.
Well, you know, I get curious, which I want to have her on a podcast, is she has this long, gorgeous hair, but she always wears it up.
It's because it gets too hot.
Exactly.
Like Aunt Jody.
Yes, like Aunt Jody.
And Aunt
Jody chopped her hair off, and she's loving it. She looks great, and it shifted her. Yeah. It's literally an energetic impact when you get your hair trimmed.
The first time I think I buzzed my head was a big thing for me too.
Yeah, I remember that. You weren't too happy about it.
Well, it's because it was unconsenting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was unconsenting.
You never did that.
And when it happened, also my hair wasn't at that point to be buzzed. I still had a decent amount on the top of my head, and I was very upset.
Mm-hmm, I know.
Very upset.
Mm-hmm.
I cried.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard for me to cry. At that time it was, because the hormones really suppress that chemical in your brain.
Oh, really?
Like, it is actually, so science, it is actually scientifically, biologically harder for men to cry, because the testosterone, what part of the hormone suppresses the hormone in the brain for men to cry. And so it takes a lot for you to fire those neurons to make it that chemical can be released. And so in that moment, that chemical was just raging for me to be able to cry like that. And I cried. Mm-hmm. And I didn't cry until maybe a year ago. And then, like, that was 6 years. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot. Mm-hmm. And because men cry. You need to cry, it's okay. Like, because crying is a releasement.
Most certainly.
Like, Tessa does cry a lot. It's just positive, who she does.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, leave me alone, don't touch me, don't breathe on me. Like, I need to process. And like, but if I get to the point of crying, I'll let it out now, right?
Yeah.
I've also showed my body that it is safe to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't like being vulnerable. No, I didn't like it.
I don't like being vulnerable. I'm very protective too. You're right.
Yeah,
it's a human experience.
It just is, yeah. But like, crying is good because like what I do notice is, like, let's use an instance of, like, on very important days, like, let's say when you're getting married, some people do cry. Lots of women cry.
Yeah.
And sometimes lots of men cry because it's a moment of true vulnerability because you're showing your love for a person. And then there's the flip side of that, of a funeral, when you're honoring the passing of a loved one. Like, let's talk about your Aunt Kathy. I never knew the woman, but I accompanied you on the funeral because I should. And and there was a lot of family that I've never met before that were there and that were on that far side of the family. And we are not religious in any way, but it was a very religious funeral. But we could feel the love of them showing their vulnerability for their mother.
Yes.
Their grandma, their aunt, so on and so forth. And we cried because we could feel it. And we could also feel their pain. Yeah. Which was sad. Yeah. And crying is important.
Yes, it is.
Very much.
Very healthy.
Yes.
Very, very. I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Whenever I feel like crying, I'll go cry. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
I do. I don't like sob.
Oh, now we're going to layer what crying is.
No, because there is such thing as sobbing.
Most certainly.
And,
Most certainly.
And I haven't reached that point. I have sobbed before, but I haven't, like, reached that point of, like, pure, like, deep vulnerability. Yeah.
So what's your next step now that you and I did some measuring and inspecting on this university? What picture or what movie are you starting to write out for, let's call it the other half of your life or another quarter?
Well, it's
until you
like,
rewrite it again?
Speaking of that, like you and like I have talked a bit with you about how we all have a bookcase and we have closed books and put them on. This one that I think recently closed with my release with Cynthia, with my childhood, and like sharing with you a moment that was very a pillar in my childhood that was not a very positive pillar. And also it was a turning point in my relationship with that individual. And like that book is now closed. And that book was probably this thick, right? Because it was like my child, like it had like almost like the Bible where it had multiple books in it, right? But it's not the Bible. And now I put it on the shelf, and now it's like I've shared with you this new life that I'm starting is a life that is very new to me. Because also now I'm very presently presenting male. I am now transitioned. I have had the surgeries that I've wanted, and I've been on hormones now for 8 years now, I think it is. 7 or 8. Like, that's a long time.
It is.
It is a very long time. And this isn't a choice. Like, I don't choose to give myself a needle every week. It's because it brings me happiness and sanity.
Well, that is a choice.
But if I didn't do it, I would be very unhappy. But it's not a choice of like, I just woke up one day and I decided to do this for the rest of my life.
Oh, okay.
In the sense of like, this is who I am. And I'm doing these things to be who I am.
Yeah, who you want to be.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, I get you.
And like, I've never been in a relationship like this. So that'll be a new journey for me.
Yeah.
And as I've talked to you a lot, I have now been single for like 4.5 years now. And I am manifesting that my next partner, her and I it will be at the points in our lives that'll just be, yeah, you are it, let's go. Right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's crazy. And I'm like, but when I manifest, it happens.
Yes. When it's in alignment with your higher self's energy, oh yeah, it's the law of attraction. It's the law, and it has to be delivered.
And that's why
don't know when.
And I know when she shows up is when it's going to be the right time. I know that.
Yeah.
Because I manifested it, and the big man has agreed. Yeah. And he has seen. And I have seen her, not fully her, but I've seen, like, already started to, as his words, create her. And she is the one. Because when I think, like, I've had dreams of her, I had one recently that I've told you about, and, like, I can feel it. Because it's a sense of, like, I get emotional, I want to cry, because it's there. And, like, Tessa's dream, like, with me going through the water in white shorts walking upstream, just my ankles,
and
is a
white
big
blessing
thing.
and cleansing.
Because it's like I am releasing some very heavy things that have held me back from a lot.
And can I ask, you don't need to say, but these were brought up with the assistance of Cynthia?
Oh, yes.
And with her work again, what is it?
It is gentle release therapy. So basically, you do these movements and stuff that bring you back to when you were in the womb. As the true, safe moment. And you do it with her, and you have to watch her, so then your system, the nerve that's your sciatic nerve, gets calm. So then you can release it, and you see her, and you know immediately she's a safe space. Like, my first releasement was a very small thing, but it was a realization thing that I was treating people the way that I was being treated as a child from that individual. And so it was a big moment for me. It was a very emotional moment, because I'm like, I don't want people to feel that way. Like, that is not good. Like, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
So we released that. And it took me 3 rounds. And then the second time, it took me one or two. And I got exhausted with us in the first round, and she's like, that is your system coming to a place of...
It also shares with me that you're ready to let that go.
It's time.
It is time. And it's like,
let's go.
That's what I call SolePath, a fast forward. So Cynthia's services, and she's had her SolePaths done,
yes,
what she's offering is a fast track as well.
Yeah. And she is someone where you can be safe with.
Yeah, isn't she lovely?
She's great, and like she knows you. She's met the SolePath team. She's been here now. She's Nova Scotia, I think. She's across the country, and
she's a hoot.
Yeah, she's really great, and like she's very, very kind.
Yes, she is.
And I think kindness also helps people bring down their walls.
Yes.
Like you're someone who is very kind. You are very kind, and you're very compassionate. Now, sometimes that has bit you in the butt.
But that's my experience to go through.
Yes, and then I just sit there and I look at you like, this is the 7th time that you lost, mother. Okay, are you going to learn your lesson here? No? Okay. All right. I think there's only been one time that I've actually ever stepped in and stopped someone from hurting you. Because I knew...
It wasn't physical hurt.
No, it was an emotional hurt. No,
yeah.
Oh, physical?
No, we won't. Never happened. We're all good.
We all know where that will go. But no, it was an emotional hurt, and I stepped in.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time I've ever stopped you from experiencing something, because I was like, no bueno. Absolutely not. I no. And we have talked about that time.
Yes.
And I explained to you why I did it was because we do not do that in this family. In this family, we are very accepting, and we allow people to experience stuff. But if there is an injustice, we say something.
Yes.
We do. Yes. And that is something that you've raised me to do. And it is true to who I am. And I do not let it fly.
No, like there does come a time where we know we have to allow each of us to experience whatever it is we're going through. But I'm the same way.
Yes.
I will stand up and say something without asking permission or seeing. But if I see that it's falling,
yes,
and I'm getting that feeling, then boom, my mouth opens up and
like
it just comes out. Yeah.
It is right here.
Yes.
You've done it many times in my life to protect me when I was a child.
Yes.
Which
yes.
Grateful for.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And I know you. And I know you know that. But I still have to share it because it's a true gratefulness. And I don't think I felt in that moment, I don't think you realized what I did.
No.
When I said, nope, not happening.
No.
And then after, then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I explained it. I'm
Yes.
like, it was a total invalidation of what you were feeling.
Yeah.
And that also in my home, which is right beside you. When you enter those doors, we don't do that.
Yeah.
It is if you are feeling down in the dumps, that's okay. If we're both feeling down in the dumps, cool. Let's eat a pail of ice cream and feel back together, and then let's move on.
Yeah.
Right? But that's how it should be. A
Yeah.
lot of people I have noticed in this time right now really like to devalue people's experiences. And sometimes I don't think they even realize it.
I really don't think they do. And I think it's a defense mechanism for them. And that's how come I don't hold a lot of judgment.
No,
and I I know you want me to.
I know, but in that moment, it's because that individual, I think, was so used to it.
Yes.
And then for me, as your child, to be like, nay.
Yeah.
Especially in my home.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
And I feel that, and I bring that into every aspect that I have. I bring it into work. I bring it into sports. Like, if two people on my sports teams are going at each other, and let's say it's like in a moment like that, I'll look at them and be like, why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're totally invalidating this human's experience and this human's emotions. And I say, when this person leaves the ring, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You don't know if their child or their parent or their partner is dying.
We don't know anything.
You don't know anything.
That's how we don't want to hold a judgment.
No, and that's why you also don't devalue someone's feelings.
Yes. Yeah.
You do not do that. Honestly, the best thing for you to do is sit and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then say, that sounds really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope things smooth out for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that does for them is validate them and make them feel better that someone listened.
That's what they're asking for. That's what a lot of people are asking for.
Like, I've started to try to get into the habit of, like, is this a rant or is this a solution session?
Yeah, right.
Right? Or is it like, can you, like, sometimes where I say to you, like, Mom, please just listen. Just listen.
Yes.
And then later let's talk solutions, but right now I just need you to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like how we started off.
Yes.
Yeah. This is just a bitch session.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for you to give me answers enough, because I didn't ask you to give me answers. Because you can't answer me for an experience that I'm going through.
Yeah.
I have to go through it. I just got to let it out.
And we have it, not that, I think like 2 days ago I said, Mom, I just need you to listen.
Yes.
I just need you to listen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even me expressing like feelings. Sometimes it's getting my thoughts out.
Yes.
Because sometimes writing it down is not working.
Yes.
Because sometimes they'll talk about one thought, they'll talk about another,
Well,
and then eventually they will,
yes.
and then they'll actually end up coming together. And then,
Yeah.
and then I usually get my answer.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
like, it's the same for you when you talk to me. Usually I can kind of tell
Mm-hmm.
where you're at, like if you want advice or if you just need to vent. Because sometimes you'll vent, and then I'll say like, do you see the connection there? And you'll be like, yes.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Or you'll change the subject.
Yeah, take this off of me now. I'm done.
Well, but that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing is when people come to me, like Tess does come to me a lot with some of the stuff that she's going through,
Mm-hmm.
and I can look at her and listen to her, and then it'll be like, and I'll ask her the same question of like, so who's the common denominator? Or are you noticing a routine here? Are you noticing
a pattern?
Yeah, are you noticing anything? And then she'll just look at me and be like, I just don't want you to go through it anymore.
Yeah.
And, but I'm like,
but we will until we're
ready.
ready.
And that's what I say to her. I'm like, no matter what I say right now, you're not gonna grasp it, which is okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then eventually you'll be like, you're right. Be like, I know.
Oh.
No, I don't
tell
say
an
that.
intellectual that they're right is like,
I know. I don't say that. I say like, now it's time. And then later on, I'll be like, I told you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh yeah, you do.
She'll be like, I know, Shen. I'll be like, do you though? Because you didn't listen the first time.
Because it just wasn't time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, hon. I'm very grateful. This was so fun. This was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go for lunch.
Yes. Now we'll go for lunch. I don't know where we're going to go.
We'll go
Pho? Oh, I like Pho. Is that the place just over here?
Yeah.
We can walk over.
Absolutely not.
You're
Who do you think I am?
A goalie? Like a sports? It's like just over there.
It's sunny out, it's hot out, and Shen's wearing black. That 3 is a no bueno. You know that.
Okay, we'll drive. Thanks, honey.
No problem, Mom.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Butterfly Cafe. Today's guest was Shen. His progression light path is the intellectual lateral thinker. His joyful light path is the charismatic performer, and his dark path is the Inspirational Manager. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, please email us at podcast@solepath.org. That's SolePath.org.